Hare Krishna, welcome to this conversation on the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's book. My name is Krishna Prem Rupa Das. I'm serving here on behalf of the ISKCON Ministry for Education on the books projects. Books are the basis. And today we are very happy to welcome with us His Grace Parabhakti Prabhu from Italy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna Prem Rupa Prabhu, for inviting me. Thank you to everyone who is watching this program. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for taking your time. You're a very busy personality. Parabhakti Prabhu serves as the temple president, Villa Brindavan in Florence, Italy. We see in the background the beautiful building of Villa Brindavan temple. Parabhakti Prabhu joined the Hare Krishna movement in 1978 at the age of 16, very young person, already joined the movement at that time and served for several years as a brahmachari. And then later on in 1985, got married and of course then took care of his family. He managed commercial companies, founded two national associations in Italy focused on environment protection. He has trained and coached professionals for over 20 years. He's also an international traveler. And nowadays he regularly holds conferences and training seminars on Krishna consciousness. And he's also very much into ISKCON communication, interfaith dialogue. He serves as the director of ISKCON communication in Italy, also as the vice president of ISKCON communication Europe. He also serves in the National Council in Italy as the vice president, as a Sabha member, and as I mentioned, as the temple president in Villa Brindavan. So we can understand you must be a very busy person, and you just told me that now things are again become very busy in Florence. So thank you for taking your time on this important topic.
Thank you so much. So many titles to try to say that they try to serve. That's the most important. That's the most important thing. So try to be servant of the servant. That is the key point. The key service.
Yes, we're all trying to serve in Srila Prabhupada's mission. Now, actually, we mentioned you joined very early, with 16. Would you like to share a little bit with us how it came that you joined so early, and what was your first contact with Srila Prabhupada's books? How did Prabhupada's books change your life?
Yes, I was very young and I was really looking for something spiritual in the life. I was very young. I grew up in the Catholic background, and I was deeply interested to understand and to know something more about God. That was and I was questioning to all the priests that I still remember now, because there is some quote in the Gospel in the Bible that say that we are done in the same image of God. So I was approaching all the priests, asking them if I am same as God, can you show me God? It was not a challenging, it was just really genuine question. But really nobody was answering to me. And finally I had a priest, he was a monk, and it was really strange during the time, because I talking more than 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, that he was doing yoga. He was doing yoga. He was also reading some spiritual literature about Vedic philosophy or something like that. I don't remember. And he gave to me these books about Paramahansa Yogananda. I think many of us they read this book. And he raised up more and more the interest. And finally, when I was already dozens of times that I was asking to him the same question, can you show me God? He told me that you have to look in something in India. He was not just changing his philosophy, because he was remaining monks for all the life, but he was deeply interested. And he raised up my interest. They say, why in India? Say, we have the Christianity, we are Catholic, and he say, you have to look into more. So that was the first approach to the so-called Indian philosophy. And later on, I remember that during one meeting with some friends, one guy he started to talk about the blue God, and
blue God.
Blue God, yes. I still remember, we was playing the guitar. That was the 70s. The 70s was quite normal. The people who was getting together, playing guitar, making a lot of nonsense also. No? But that time, these guys was telling something about the Blue God. And immediately when he said something about the Blue God, it came to me something that was inside my heart. Say, what is the Blue God? At that time, I know only Shiva. They said, this is Shiva. And he told me, no, it's not Shiva, because Shiva has the throat blue. But this God is complete blue. And I said, where can I find this blue God? He told me that there are some guys in the city, in the center of the city. They are distributing some books. I think that they show up. They are following some guru from India. They call them Hare Krishna, something like that. But he don't know nothing more about that. So I think that I was 14 or something like that, just a couple of years before I joined the movement. So every day I was going in the center of the city with the hope to meet these guys that was distributing the books. And finally, when I completely lose any hope just to meet them, I was turning a corner and I saw one devotee. He was doing book distribution in the middle of the street. And I still remember as now that everything around him was appearing to me false. And the only real person was him. And this devotee, that after I came to know him, was a Prabhupada disciple, he came in front of me and he just slapped a little in my face. He said, hey, wake up. What are you doing? And give me a book. And he gave me a book. And that book was Srila Prabhupada. And but I was not prepared at all. And he gave me the book and asked for donation. I have nothing in my pocket except the money to pay the bus. And I told him, sorry, I have to pay. I don't know what to do. I have only this. That can be like nowadays, like €1 or something, or even less. And he told me, okay, we are not here just to sell the books. I want to give the book for free. Give me what you have. He said, I can give you all the money for the bus. I can find some, we can manage in some way, We don't pay the bus because we were very young, so that we escape, this duty. And he gave me the books. And I still remember this now. I immediately ran to my home and I started reading the books. And it was very difficult just because I was like 14 years old, something like that. It was not easy to understand the Srila Prabhupada. But what really impressed me was the photos of Srila Prabhupada in the back. And, I saw this guru, something was really fascinating me. And I started to read. Even I was not able to understand what exactly was explained in the Srila Prabhupada. I was so attracted that after a couple of years, when with a friend in the crazy young age, we decided just to try to reach India. We don't really know. We didn't really know exactly what it means to go to India, but we tried to go. So we left home, and I know that nowadays it's quite strange to say something like that. But during the 70s, it was normal. Everyone was leaving everything, leaving the house, leaving the country, just to go around the world. And I told to my friend, okay, we are just make this trip to go to India. But first, because I come to know that in Rome, it was a little center of Hare Krishna, I want to go there and meet this guru. I want to meet this Srila Prabhupada, because I was very young, I didn't know. So I went in Rome and I entered in the temple. It was in the beginning of the 78. And I come to know immediately that Prabhupada, he already left the planet. But I was so attracted that after 1 day, I decided to join the movement and become devotee. So that was in brief my story.
Wow. So you joined then there in Rome. Did you actually go to India, or you just joined and stayed there in Rome?
No. I skip all the India because I don't want to enter into details. Maybe it can be boring, but was a very crazy plan. We didn't have any passports, nothing. We tried to jump the frontier, the border, and enter in India. That's was the dream of some guy. Maybe Krishna protected us just to stop you wrong, because otherwise will be very dangerous. But really, you saw Prabhupada and the books, they make me devotee. It was the only interest. I didn't have any other interest. It was just, my interest was just to look at the spirituality of the people. It was really fascinating in hearing story about Rabbi, about Mullah, or whatever he is, Brahmana, whatever. So it was really hoping to meet all these different aspects of God and just to discuss with these people about spirituality. And Krishna in some way took me and allowed me just to participate in this wonderful movement.
So the Sri Ishopanishad was the first book that you read. Yeah. And like, of course, now you have been practicing for many, many years. Why do you feel it's important to read Srila Prabhupada's books regularly? Or what?
I think that is really important. That make the difference because, as you mentioned before, I'm doing a lot of interfaith dialogue, and I have a lot of friends in between the different religions. And this is very nice, but very rarely people they very go deep even in their spirituality, because they don't have so many information. And most of the time, even in the religious dialogue, we talk about ethics, we talk about many things. That is good. I don't say that it is bad, but there is not so many information about to talk about God. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I approached the leader of the different spiritual tradition, and I asked them just to have a meeting here in Villa Vrindavana to discuss the way that we love God. It was an indirect way just to sit on the table and talk about bhakti. And it was funny because most of them, they told me, no, but nobody will be interested about that. So people, they want to discuss other topics, not exactly about God, about the scriptures. Who is going to be interested? Very few people. Nobody will come. It was a general question. And I remember that a couple of friends, they really say, okay, why not? Parabhakti is proposing that maybe we can just be 4, 5, 10 of us. That's enough. We will invest some time and we stay together to talk about God. And unexpectedly for them, we have like 150 people. They came, they sit all together. It was amazing just to listen from the different tradition, how they love God, how they do something to serve God in a different way, And most of the people, they was asking to us more information. That was very important. And I know that some of them, they even start to read the books because they got information that are not really available in other texts. So that's, I think that we have a treasure. And if even the other tradition, not everyone, of course, is really available to understand, to discuss the so-called books from other tradition. But when the people, they understand the importance of the Srimad Bhagavatam, understand the importance of the Bhagavad Gita, they will become very favorable because they understand that books are beyond the religion. So this is a real obstacle in the beginning because everyone say, my book, my religion, mine is the best, maybe you can become my friend, that's it. But the real way is my way. That's what most of the people they are thinking about. But I know that when then they become more close to the Vedic traditions, the Vaishnava literature, they become very favorable. And they understand that it's not a question to convert someone, but it's just a question just to increase your understanding of God. So to do that, the devotee they have to become expert into that. And Prabhupada said you have to become expert. All the information are there. And when you have more information, the more understanding you have, the more you become, in a sense, skilled just to present Krishna consciousness in a different way. So there is not only one way to introduce Krishna consciousness, there are many ways. So, and the people, they will become attracted by the humility of the devotee and by the real knowledge that the devotee can have. It's not just an academic knowledge, but the real knowledge that will come from the experience, from the realization of that. So Prabhupada is giving all the information in the book. And sometimes I listen to someone that's saying, "Oh, Prabhupada, you wrote the book 50 years ago, and the books they were okay for the period. Now we have to change something." Maybe we have to create more and more bridge to the people just to arrive to Srila Prabhupada books. I personally wrote some books also, no? And but all these books are really a bridge just to bring the people to Srila Prabhupada books. So when the people they start to read Srila Prabhupada books, that will make a difference. So it's very important just to understand that not only reading but to studying the books. Go just take note, make question, ask to the senior devotee or the devotee they are more philosophical, they have more knowledge, they have to go deep. So they can make the difference. And I can say another experience, because in the terms of number, we are not so many. If we compare to other religions, we are really a little hand. So the Christians are more than 2 billion in the planet, how many we are. Even we don't know exactly how many we are. But I remember years ago that when I tried to enter in the table of religion in the Flores municipality, where Villa Bellona is, it was not so easy. It was not so easy because they was looking in terms of number. So Christian, Muslim, or maybe in terms of power, like the Jewish or other tradition, Buddhist, and so on. And when they were discussing, a friend of mine that is come from the Catholic background, is a priest, and also supported by the Baha'i and the other, they say, you have to invite the Hare Krishna. And the assessor say, why? There are not so many. They say, this is not a question of how many they are. It's a question of what they have to say, because they have to say something that is completely of value. So this is important. So to be relevant in the society. And all these, you become relevant when you become competent and you know your scriptures. And another example, I've been talking a lot, just stop me, Krishna. I remember there is an encyclopedia that is written by one of the most famous sociologists, is Italian, but is famous all over the world, and is the encyclopedia of the religion. And when they go to the Vaishnavis, of course, ISKCON is the first, no? And when you start to read this, is written that the Krishna devotee, the ISKCON devotee, are not too many. But be careful, because it's not a question of how many they are, because they say one person, they can change one entire society, an entire city. I was so impressed about that, no? And when I moved this person, because it was looking like a quote that one devotee was making just to promote himself. No, we are great, we are strong, we are this, we are that. And I asked to him, he's a deep professor, and he told me, because it is true. He said, look what your founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada did. He was alone, one person. And it changed completely the perception of the situation in the world. And you see how many of you just went alone in one place, and after you start something. So this is not my dream or my idea or my fantasy. This is the reality. So when you are real devotee, when you are very deep in your tradition, you become very relevant. You can change something in the society. It was so impressive. He said, you are talking as a devotee. He said, no, I'm not a devotee. I am a really concrete person. I'm just looking at the reality. That's very interesting.
That's very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
Basically, what you highlighted is that we got such a value, such a treasure in Srila Prabhupada's book, so much knowledge that even, like as you mentioned, these scholars and other leaders of different faiths, they can recognize that, okay, these people are maybe not so many, but what they say has so much depth. And actually, you also reminded me of Prabhupada pointing out that just as the Christians know the Bible by heart, or like a lawyer knows the law book perfectly, so Prabhupada expected us to know his books, like the books that he gave us, like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, that we're supposed to become very expert in that knowledge. And I think also what you mentioned, that if we absorb the knowledge and we can present it in a way with realization, then people will really be impressed by that. So thank you for sharing this. You also mentioned that sometimes we need to help people to make bridges to access Srila Prabhupada's books. And what catch my attention, you mentioned you wrote books yourself. Would you like to say?
Nowadays the people we are in the internet era. That's the people, they are very fast. We are in a Twitter era that everything is 140 type, and people are like that. They want to know everything at the moment. They have no patience. They are no way. They don't want to sit down. And we know that the spiritual knowledge is something that you have to sit down, stay with the guru, listen, practicing, take time. The people nowadays, they don't have more time. They want to do everything immediately. And often when the people, they come to me, say, I start to read Bhagavad Gita, but I cannot go beyond the first chapter because too many Indian men, they cannot understand nothing, blah, 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 because everything that's finished. So how we can help the people just to take more time to read that? I think that the book that we have, we can write, or the devotee they wrote, we can write. I say that Prabhupada, he already told everything. He already wrote everything. We don't have to add so much. The point is just to take the people to that book they're starting to read books. That's the most important thing. It's not just to, because we sold a million, half billion of books in the world, but how many people really they go to read the books? So that's another big question. So we are just to facilitate the people just to go in that reading and just to start reading the process, because the process for practically everyone is starting when you start to read. And you take the real siksha from our Param Guru, from our main guru for any of us. So the book that I read one, I wrote one novel, about the story of three devotees. They became the three persons that become devotee. It's a fantasy, but it's based on the real fact. And just this morning, I was with a meeting with the local mayor, with the assessor. I even didn't remember that. I gave this book, my book, and the Bhagavad Gita of Srila Prabhupada to that lady, and she read the books, and she told me. So the books were really useful for me, because you open my mind and you make more favorable just to read more about your teaching. And I asked them, what you do? I start to read the Bhagavad Gita. So that's interesting. So I think that, personally, in my case, I don't want to substitute myself to Srila Prabhupada. That's Srila Prabhupada. It remains the real guru teaching everything. But we can facilitate. And sometimes we can make it simple to them, the approach. And after when they start the process, of course, Srila Prabhupada books, everything is there. So also we have to become expert, because not everyone is available to read the same books. So because we know that Bhagavad Gita, of course, is Krishna directly spoken to everyone. It's fantastic, but sometimes for people it's too complicated. And Prabhupada, he wrote many books about that. So if we know the book of Srila Prabhupada, we can advise the people, read this, read that. So just in the way, just to help people just to enter more into the reading. And when they enter more, they can start the process. They can read Bhagavad Gita, they can read the Srimad Bhagavata, they can read Bhakti Rasamrita Siddha, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and whatever it is. So I think that, personally, in my case, we have to raise the interest of the people to go more deep in the philosophy. And also we can facilitate the people in many ways, just making the books familiar in their life. So, and also we do a lot of program, even online program, just to help the people just to become more and more familiar. Because I want to tell you another incident that happened a few years ago. A few years ago, Prabhupada, Sai Baba, you remember Sai Baba, he left the body, no? And it was something, no? Or at least in Italy, the newspaper and the media, they noticed, no? Proper. And I remember the time I was in the house of my parents. It was the time of the news, and so the speaker, he announced that, Sai Baba, this famous guru, left the body, and they asked for an interview to one social anthropologist that she wasn't the most famous in our country. And again, it was very impressive because she spent few words about Sai Baba, and after she said exactly this word, she said, but the real person who made the changement in the society, who brought the value, the deep value in our society is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I say, what? I was with the parents looking, not paying so much attention to television, and this lady said that. And after, so this man say that, oh, the Hare Krishna, the one was just chanting in the street, dancing in the street, very nice. And she say, okay, that's very nice, but there's something very more deep. And again, she repeat this. So there was, again, was something really shocking me. After 1 year, maybe 1 year after, I was invited to a conference in Rome, and this lady was there. So we were in the same panel, no? So we made a conference talking about India and blah, blah, blah. And after when we finished our talk, I spent some time with her and say, ladies, so you say that when Sai Baba left the planet. So you spend few words about talking about Sai Baba, and we are talking a lot, much more about Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our founder. I say, why you do that? And again, she said, because he's the real one, because he translate the books, he make available this literature, because this literature was very complicated to reach. Say, we have Srimad Bhagavatam, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita because of him. So this is something very important, very relevant from our point of view. So and after when we arrived at that we feast the 50th anniversary of ISKCON, no? By the mercy of the Lord, we organized a conference in the Italian Parliament, and I invited this lady. And this lady was really speaking very nice, sweet word about the value of Srila Prabhupada books, how Srila Prabhupada make available the books. And the message that this lady gave, just take the opportunity. She was talking about the general audience, no, was not talking about the devotee. Take the opportunity, because it is very rare. So that's, I'm quoting these people because they are not devoted. But at the same time, because they understand the importance of Srila Prabhupada, they were encouraging the other people they reading the books. So what to say about us that we are devoted? We are fully convinced of that.
Right. It is interesting that sometimes when people see the Hare Krishna movement, they remember the people dancing in the streets. Sometimes I think this is like sentimental. But actually, there's so many books that we have, there's such a deep knowledge. And it's wonderful to hear how there is people who actually understand this and can appreciate that. But yeah, like how much have we understood it, we as devotees? And how much have we taken that opportunity to go deeper in study Srila Prabhupada's books? Of course, that's what we try to also emphasize with our work, to help devotees to develop more taste in reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Maybe we can speak a little bit about this also. What do you think? How would ISKCON as an institution or movement change in the future if all the devotees would read more often, like would really dive deep into Srila Prabhupada's books? How could that affect our movement?
I think that will really give a very good chance, a very good effort. Unfortunately, I know that especially the ones who are living in the temple are super busy. Sometimes they don't have so much time to read. So they're, of course, nice. They're doing a lot of service. And when you are living outside, you're busy with the family, you're busy with this, busy with that. So sometimes we really, the time that we dedicate to the reading of the book is very little. So, and this is a fact. So we have to face with this. And thank you so much for bringing the attention and making interview different devotees. But as I'm telling to everyone, that is in some way that is connected with me, asking for spiritual advisor, just take your time. Of course, first chant the mantra, and that's the most important thing. And secondly, take a little time, even half an hour, 15 minutes, especially for the Grihastha living outside, just connect with Srila Prabhupada. Because if you regularly read the books, your understanding will be more and more clear. And even when we are talking with the people, it's not a question of be convinced because we are following some dogma or something like that. You don't have to convince yourself because it's your religion, so everything has to be accepted. So we have to understand. And Srila Prabhupada, I think that he was really pushing about this mode. You have to understand what you are, the book that you are distributing, why you are doing this kind of service. So, and he give all the explanations. So regularly reading the books is not that I read the Bhagavad Gita, that's okay. I read the books. Sometimes I heard this from the devotee. Oh, I already read that. So personally, I read many times the Bhagavad Gita. And any time that I read the Bhagavad Gita, something is new, completely new. Because, we know that the books are moving according to our internal realization. So we can understand, we can tune much more. So, and of course, we have to be tuned. Krishna and Srila Prabhupada is our main acharya. So in the books, we can find the word of Krishna and the word of Srila Prabhupada. So they can really guide us and that helps us to go in this direction. So as a devotee that we are practicing for so many years, so we have to try to understand which is the best way that we can use to make interesting the reading. And in Italy, where the people in general, they don't read so much. They prefer to watch something, they prefer to listen. So even nowadays, it's becoming more and more common with the audiobooks. The audiobooks can be an alternative. I don't say that it is the best because it's not the same concentration, but at least it's something that is entering in your life. So this is another things that we are doing. In so many devotees, they are reading regularly Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever it is helping the people. But you know that the spiritual logic enter in your life daily. That's really, really important. Because if the understanding grow, the understanding is the realization become of the philosophy become real in your life. You become so attractive to people. And also, you can understand in which way to talk with the people and let them to become even more close to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we are not here to impose, but we are here to propose things to people. And you are good to propose to people when you have deep realization inside. And this deep realization is coming from understanding Srila Prabhupada books. That's really very important. So how we can facilitate, we are doing a great job with this. And also there are so many facilities nowadays online just to try to let the devotees stay together and encourage each other for reading the Bhagavad Gita. I think that this is the way. We have to use all the facility, all the technology just to make it more simple, more available because the path of the spiritual realization is not that it's changing according to the time. So maybe the word that we are using just to talk with people can be different, but the process is always the same. Is Shraddha to Prema. It's not changing because we are in the second millennium. It depends also how you call the time. We are in 2021, but according to some understanding of the counting of the time. But the spiritualization is something that is eternal. It's not really changing. So, but the people, how to tune the people, this is the challenge nowadays. And the tendency is just to avoid the spiritual literature because people, they are much more into the materialism. So, and when Srila Prabhupada wrote the seventh purpose of ISKCON, so the first is just try help the people to understand the difference between material and spirit. It was just in another ways it was saying cultivate the Shraddha, Sambandha Jnana, try to cultivate, which is the knowledge about that. Just to understand that point, it is very crucial for the people just to change their life. again, you can do it if you go into the philosophy, you understand the literature, you read the books. So it's not just a question of personal realization. That's very important, but also it to become more and more an instrument of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya just to attract the society to Krishna consciousness. So that's because we have to become expert. You know, to understand, grow inside, and also become expert to attract people in a different way.
So you emphasized several times, like, if we understand ourselves, if we actually have realization, then we will be able to share it with others more. What would be ways to make sure that we can apply what we read? Because in some way, you know, in our, we mentioned that we have such a treasure of knowledge, so much knowledge that we receive, but how much of that can we actually apply in our life? Would you like to share some experiences how to make sure that we can apply or transfer that knowledge into action in our daily lives?
Yes, you have to also to understand and make some plan. As a given example, one of the most of my favorite part of the literature is the Krishna Lila pastime, you know, when he was in Vrindavan. You know? Mm-hmm. That's I am using often. You know? I am using often this in talk with the people. But of course, you have to have a more deep understanding. It's not just to tell some nice story that the people they think this is mythology or something like that. You have to know also the philosophical aspect. And according to the different audience, you can, you can drive one part of the other just to tune together, just to make this attractive to the people. So, and when you understand that, this is reading, this is studying, this go deep and make effect on you and the people, by the result, if you really see that you are transforming your consciousness, you are becoming another person, and the people, they really appreciate what you are becoming. Also, they want to become like you. They want to transform themselves. And it's not just because you decide that you become a part of one group or the other that it makes a difference. That's important. It's important to make some choice, but also you have to work on the transformation. The transformation, it comes from in the beginning because it's a big tool, knowledge, the understanding of the philosophy is a big tool. Of course, staying with the devotee, but even the relation between the devotee is really improving when your understanding of the philosophy and your studying is growing. That is a fact. I saw this every day, because sometimes the devotee they make quarrel happen. No, we know that there's some disagreement between them, and unfortunately, I saw that all this controversy has on, and more the devotee they are not really reading the Srila Prabhupada books, because they look at the situation from the material point of view. So my understanding, your understanding, this understanding, more the people they are tuned on the basis of the spiritual understanding about the understanding of the philosophy, even the relation will become more normal, more distance, and the people they can really deal each other with another level. And even with the so-called materialists, so the people that are having other interests in the society, when they feel that the purity of the devotee is real, they become more and more attracted. And again, it's not just a question because you shave up your head and you dress in an Indian clothes that people, they are attracted because it's a way they can shock you. You can shock them. But after they are attracted by your purity. And the purity has become about, for many things, but also the understanding of the philosophy, how much you go deep. So we cannot demand that everyone become a scholar, everyone become philosophers, but at least the basic understanding is very important for everyone. So the regular attending of the class, because when we live in the temple, we say that it's mandatory to attend the morning class. And fortunately for the by the mercy of the technology nowadays, so the classes are much more available everywhere. We go online, we get class, we can inspiration, and this is and that. So that's important. Also for at that purpose, we are giving daily some signal to the people. Like, to give an example, we start during the COVID period this program. It's called Krishna. Welcome Krishna. Good morning Krishna.
Good morning Krishna.
Good morning Krishna. What we do? We take one sloka from the Bhagavad Gita and we read Srila Prabhupada purport for maximum 1 minute and a half. It's very short, no? And we have hundreds of people that every morning when they wake up in the morning, I don't know, it depends on them, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, doesn't mean. They switch off the telephone. The first thing that appears in the telephone is, good morning, Krishna, and Krishna is saying something to you, and Srila Prabhupada is giving a little explanation. 1 minute is enough. Nobody can argue that is too much, because you can find 1 minute enough. When you are sharing your face or whatever it is, you can find 1 minute enough. And I got from many people that this input, just to wake up in the morning with some Krishna word and Srila Prabhupada word, inspired them during the day to take some time and read the books.
Wow.
This is just one way that we can. And I really encourage it. We also, now I think that in ISKCON News, they published the article about this program that we do. And I encourage everyone, this is not my program, so everyone can train in a different language. But this something is not invasive in the people's life, but at the same time, this is just helping them to connect with the Srila Prabhupada books. And so on. So we can also encourage people by different programs to read, because this is very bad. We can make the difference. We can make the difference in our life and also other people's life.
Mm. I think that's very relevant, that even if it's not so much, but just the regularity, like that every day we again connect with Srila Prabhupada, with Srila Prabhupada's wisdom and his books. I think it's a wonderful example that you gave with this. It's a WhatsApp group, you said, right?
WhatsApp, yes. WhatsApp.
Like just getting some inspiration in the early morning, and then devotees get reminded, yes, we have such a wonderful knowledge, and maybe let me read sometimes in the day because they heard something inspiring in the morning. So that's a wonderful example how we can try to encourage everyone to read. And I think also that if devotees come together and read in groups and help each other to do that as a daily sadhana, it can be very powerful. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom. I think I personally felt like you spoke a lot from realization, and also we can see with all the different contexts you have with in interfaith and with scholars. It's quite impressive to see how they actually appreciate Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's books. Is there anything you would like to, from your side, add in conclusion, or any advices how we can help devotees to read more often, or any other last realizations you'd like to share with us?
I think that we have to, sometimes we say that we cannot find the time, but often, say everyone, I think that many devotees are much more better than me, but most of the people, most of the devotees also, they are not really conscious of the time that is passing, no? So my suggestion is just to take one paper, divide in 24 hours, 24 boxes, and each box write down what we are doing. So you can have the time for sleeping, the time for eating, the time for talking, the time for the chapa, this and that. And when you become conscious of the time passing, also you can make a more easy plan. And when you have 24 hours, you write down what is the necessity. Sleeping is the necessity. Eating is a necessity. Taking shower is a necessity. After we have our duty, we have to chant the mantra, we have to do this, we have to attend the class, we do service, something like that. And when we become conscious of the time, we can find for sure that sometimes is it's possible to find for reading. So adding in your life, in your daily basis, some time for reading. Can be idealistic 1 hour every day. Srila Prabhupada suggests. But I'm also a very practical person. I don't know, sometimes it's very difficult, but at least half an hour, 20 minutes, that's very important. Just find the time to associate with Srila Prabhupada. It's really, really, really important. We can find this time in any time of the day that really our life will change. And I'm saying this not just as a general talking or preaching to someone, try to convince, because the people they adopted this way, just regular reading Shabbat, they make a lot of transformation. And I saw devotees then in a short times, they become qualified. Of course, also we give some training to them just to give lectures to other people, just because they become more deep into the philosophy. So we can really become, as Srila Prabhupada said, everyone must become a guru. That doesn't mean that everyone has to become a Diksha guru with disciple to give, but everyone can become a guru by example, by sharing the teaching, by sharing the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. It's very important. And this, more we associate with Srila Prabhupada, more we become close to him. And when we become close to him, so the Srila Prabhupada words come spontaneously in our mind. But it can happen also if you regularly stay with him. But that's the most important thing. So reading the books means associated with the pure devotee. When we stay with the pure devotee will give all the tools and inspiration how to become more relevant in our service and more effective in our preaching. It is the mission of our movement. So we are here just because we want to have Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Srila Prabhupada, the Guru Parampara, to give full hand in the world of spiritual knowledge. It is starting from preparing ourselves, preparing and constantly be updated. And we don't have to have new courses, we just have to continue to read. And after we can have the first training and the continuous training, it is always the same, reading the books. And we see that the devotees are more successful in their preaching activities, and the devotees are more reading the books. We have some brahmachari here in Italy that they are super amazing brahmachari, fantastic. They are distributing a lot of books. The medium average, I think that of 60, 70 books a day, at least, up to 120, 150 every day. If you ask them which is the secret, and they say the secret is to be tuned with Srila Prabhupada, reading the books, having a good sadhana and reading the books. He will give the power to give everything. Because more we are tuned and connected with Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, and Krishna, more we become successful. And of course, joyful inside, peaceful, balanced, in harmony, that everything will become very easy. Everything starting by reading Srila Prabhupada books. So that's my message to myself also, and to everyone, is to read more, to stay more tuned with Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much. I really felt how you're strongly connected to Srila Prabhupada's movement and mission. You very much emphasized to become an instrument. I personally felt very encouraged and inspired by your words. So thank you so much, Parabhakti Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Krishna Pranarupa Prabhu. And thank you for this wonderful service that you are doing. With Tapanishta and to all the other devotees.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.